Learning to be here, part one of 7. On mornings stitched with possibility, I unlearn the rush that kept me shallow and write a gentler ending for this chapter. It's the phrase that comes to me now when I wake before the alarm. The street outside still quiet except for the faint rattle of the tram 2 blocks away. I sit at the small wooden table by the kitchen window, drinking coffee that is sometimes too bitter, sometimes perfect, depending on how carefully I remember to measure the grounds. The window glass is streaked from last night's rain. The world outside has that washed, waiting quality. I used to sprint through mornings like this, phone in one hand, bag slung over the other shoulder, heart already racing toward deadlines. Now I pause, even if pausing feels foreign. My apartment is modest second floor of an aging building, radiator pipes clanking unpredictably, but I am learning the contours of stillness here. The chipped blue mug I always choose, the creak of the floorboard under the fridge, the way light hits the wall above the sink at 7:30. It wasn't always this way. For years, I fed myself on momentum as though the only way to matter was to keep moving, keep producing. I'd gulp coffee without tasting it, pack half a breakfast into my mouth while already typing emails on my phone. Those mornings blurred into one another, days collapsing into weeks until I barely noticed the seasons shift. Now, as the coffee cools, I reach for a notebook. It's one I bought impulsively last month, its cover a faded green with a stitched spine. At first I told myself it was for lists, maybe sketches of project ideas, but what I end up writing is more ordinary, half-thoughts, fragments of dreams, grocery reminders that turn into little meditations. Today I write, gentler ending. Just the phrase, underline once. Later I will head to work. The office is a short tram ride away where my colleague Marta will greet me with her wry smile and say, "You're early again," though she knows I've been trying to come in slower, less armored. But for now, I allow myself to linger, to hear the refrigerator hum, to watch a pigeon strut along the railing outside. I think of my sister Clara, who used to scold me for my pace. "You're missing your life," she said once during a hurried lunch when I kept checking my phone. She had a way of looking at me that made me feel both younger and older at once. Clara lives across town with her partner and their small son. I don't see them as often as I should. Even when I visit, I find myself restless, scanning for what's next. Yet lately, I've been considering a change. More time with them, fewer excuses about work. The smell of toast pulls me back. I butter it unevenly, sitting again at the table, trying not to read anything while I eat. Just tasting, noticing. The crust is a little burnt, but still good. My hands look tired in the light, faint ink smudges from last night's scribbles. The quiet doesn't last long. A truck reverses loudly outside. A neighbor upstairs drops something heavy. The city insists on its rhythms. Still, there is a seam in the day where I can choose differently. I put the plate in the sink and glance at the clock. Time to move, though not in a rush. Walking down the stairs, I feel the weight of my bag lighter than usual. The stairwell smells of damp concrete and faint detergent. On the landing, I meet Mrs. Novak from the 3rd floor, who nods politely, carrying a basket of laundry. We rarely exchange more than a few words, but today I smile longer, and she pauses, as if surprised, then smiles back. Small, unremarkable, but I feel it. Outside, the air carries the coolness of receding rain. I walk toward the tram stop, my shoes making soft sounds on the pavement. A man with a dog waits nearby, the animal shaking droplets from its fur. I watch them without urgency, as if observation itself were a kind of prayer. When the tram arrives, I step inside, the familiar metallic scent of brakes and damp coats surrounding me. I find a seat by the window. The city scrolls past, corner bakery already busy, a boy dragging his backpack reluctantly, an elderly woman watering flowers on a balcony. Each sight tugs at me, Small reminders that the world holds more than my lists, my deadlines. At the office, Marta waves as predicted. She sets her coffee down and says, "You're early again." Her tone is teasing, but not unkind. I shrug. Old habits. She raises an eyebrow. Trying to unlearn them. Remember? I nod, and we both laugh softly. The day passes in the rhythm of tasks, emails, short meetings, the endless calibration of priorities. Yet beneath it, I keep a thread of that morning intact. During lunch, I step outside, eating slowly on a bench, watching clouds instead of scrolling. It feels small, almost silly, but it steadies me. By evening, fatigue sets in. I return home, drop my bag by the door. The apartment is quiet again, shadows lengthening. I brew tea this time, the steam curling up like a reminder to breathe. I think again of Clara and her words, of the phrase that surfaced this morning. Maybe gentleness is not about endings at all, but about how I inhabit the middle. I sit once more at the table, open the green notebook, and write, "Today I walked slower, smiled longer, noticed the pigeon." I pause, tapping the pen, then add, "On mornings stitched with possibility, I unlearn the rush that kept me shallow and write a gentler ending for this chapter." I close the book, leave it on the table. Outside, the tram rattles past, carrying strangers toward their evenings. I let the sound linger, not rushing to fill the silence. This is how it begins,